Hey everyone, welcome back to the Your Biggest Vision Show. I'm your host, Leah, and I'm very excited and honored to have Susan Shek with us today. I'm sorry, Susan Shek Saxton, right?
I can be
And
serious with that.
okay. I want to be respectful. But anyway, Susan is one of the most sought after and well-known wedding photographers here in New York. She's also photographing my wedding in October. And my fiance and I have already loved getting to know her and work with her. And we were struck not only by her amazing photography skills, but by her level of professionalism and the real experience she gave us. And I think that principle really applies to any business owner, any entrepreneur. So I asked Susan to come share a little bit about how she built this very incredible business in a very competitive market. So thank you for being here, Susan.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So I'm just going to read a little bit about your background and then we will hear from you. So Susan is a native New Yorker who started her professional path in network administration, far from the creativity she now gets to enjoy. Susan started photography in the New York nightlife scene and from there transitioned to weddings. She is now one of the most highly rated and highly sought out wedding photographers in all of New York City, having 100 five-star ratings on Wedding Wire and rated consistently with the Couples Choice Award as well as the Knott's Best of Wedding Award for the past 7 years. Geez. Aside from her stunning images, Susan's six-figure self-made business comes from her impeccable brand and attention to detail. And of course, anyone who's listening to this, I will post my engagement pictures because I'm obsessed with them. So you have amazing work. So Susan, my show is all about your vision and you have built such a life of creativity for yourself, but walk us a little bit through what it was like before you had this wedding photography business, before you had your own business. What were things like for you maybe in college or so?
Yeah, so when I first started, I guess finding your, clients and your couples to believe in you was a little difficult because when you don't have any work to show, then it's really hard to advertise. So, I had to put myself out there on different places like the Knot and Wedding Wire to be able to, showcase some of my work and, have some different couples that I would try out with, some sessions that I would do in exchange for, using their photos online.
When did this sort of seed get planted in your head that you could build that you could become one of the most reputable wedding photographers in New York? Because I know you started out in nightlife photography. So even when you got the interest, did you really envision it would grow to what it is now?
No, I never expected it to get, so busy, especially last year, having shot so many weddings. I guess it's, when you give people the level of service and quality, everybody takes note and, then you become in high demand. So it's taken me a long time to get to this point and I'm really grateful for where I am now. And I see myself continuing to grow more and, build more of my brand and always have room for improvement. But, it's great to be, where I am now.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. So what would you say when you think of sort of those beginning times when you were putting yourself out there and you didn't have all these testimonials and you didn't have all the reviews you now have on these big wedding websites, what would you say kept you moving when it sort of felt like no one knew who you were? How is this ever going to take off? What like kept you motivated?
Just being inspired, and having different people compliment me how great my work is and, getting these like handwritten notes from my couples and, just having people show, gratitude and, believing in me. That's what kept me going and, know that I had something going for, this photography business.
Right. Yeah. So you focused on the wins, even when it seemed sometimes like, things were moving slow or not as quickly as you wanted to. I think that's something I advise people all the time because it can be really hard in the beginning to feel like you're not growing fast enough or you're not moving fast enough or no one cares. So you kind of have to look at the things that are working.
Yeah.
And so when you decided to transition from nightlife to wedding, what was that like?
It was an easy process because I love the nightlife and I figured that was the best place for me to get started in photography because just the lighting challenges and being in complete darkness and fighting like the different strobe lights and knowing the right timing to take the right shots was, already really challenging. So, when one of my friends from high school approached me and told me that, she wanted me to be her wedding photographer, I was a little scared, and, I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't think that I was going to do a good job, but, everybody loved the photos, and, like after that was where it ignited my, new passion for weddings. And I realized like there's nothing else that's makes me as happy as, seeing people that are happy on such a momentous day.
Yeah. So that's great. So it kind of was a natural progression away from nightlife because your friend kind of took a chance on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And then you sort of stumbled into the passion of it.
Mhm.
So when think of, I guess if you could think of three, I'm going to ask like two categories, three sort of your top photography tips that you think make your images stand out. And then maybe three like experiences that you give your clients that you think have been really effective during this. Is there anything you can think of that would be helpful with those categories?
Um, I mean, I hear a lot of times from people that like, my pictures are very timeless. So,
Mm-hmm.
like when you look back at the pictures 10 years from now, you're still going to see the same image is not, like over, edited or, weird colors or anything like that. So that's one of the qualities I think. And maybe, um, just having like real moments rather than stage. Like I don't do any, styled shoots or anything like that. I don't really believe in those because I feel like, people want to see the real weddings and the real moments that people have so they can kind of imagine what they would be going through too.
Right, right.
And
Yeah, those are,
then,
especially with something so raw like a wedding.
yeah. And then also just kind of like, communicating like what I see, like my vision. It's not really just so much about the photo, it's more about, how I kind of directed that moment or, captured that moment that could have been gone with the blink of an eye.
Hmm. Wow. Do you feel like you have an inherent gift for that, or it's something you've developed over the years?
Yeah, I think that I definitely have a natural gift for that because, it's hard to teach people that kind of gift. I've been trying to teach my husband how to, take a good picture and, how to frame the right shot. But, a lot of people don't really understand it. And, it's hard for them to even, like get to this point.
Yeah. Right. So is that like when you feel the most creatively fulfilled is when you can sort of use that gift that you naturally have to find
Yeah.
timeless moments in any situation?
Yeah, I think that's it. Like I'm just paying attention to every single thing that's in that frame. Like if there's like a
Mm.
garbage can that's in the way, like I'll make sure that I'm not, capturing that side of, the frame and, just composing the shot right.
Right.
Those kind of things like that you have to think within, a second, not like, a few minutes.
Right, right. And so you have very keen attention to detail, it sounds like, in your photos. And then one of the things I read the most about you when I was wanting you to be our wedding photographer, and I'm so grateful you are, was everyone said that you have such attention to detail, also just in the way that you sort of interact with people throughout the day and the whole wedding process. And so do you feel like you just are a naturally meticulous person and that that's really helped you? Or what advice do you have for anyone trying to grow a business that needs to sort of, pay attention to the smaller stuff?
Yeah, so I took that Enneagram test and I'm a 2, and I think I'm just a natural, like, helper. Like my whole family, my mom especially, she's always like helping people even though they might not need it, like that kind of thing is just something that's been in, like my family values. So, like just being there for more than, being a
Yeah,
photographer, like helping, fix a zipper on a dress or, helping mom, like, put on a necklace properly and, teaching them some of the cultures that they might not know what to do in, like I feel like I'm an experienced expert in most of these fields because I've seen it all. I don't think
right.
there's been one thing that I haven't been able to do.
Oh my God, you're making me so excited for my wedding. Well, those are wonderful qualities. And it sounds like you really are part of people's big day, not sort of just like capturing it. And I'm sure that that's why
Yeah.
people love you so much. So do you have something that looking back, you feel like was a very big challenge in your wedding photography career, or some moment that you've really learned from, whether it's photography or just working for yourself related?
It's just there's a lot of people now that are, photographers. I mean, you can go out and buy a camera and call yourself a photographer now, and there's all these like different things on how to be a wedding photographer. But I feel like there's so much more to it. Like people really need to like do their research and have, like a lot of experience before they can even, go through that.
Yeah, right.
I think that's the main challenges right now is how can I just swim through a sea of, other photographers in my competition and, really stand out.
Yeah. And so how do you do it?
I'm still working on that right now. So it's a lot of different things. I think I'm rebranding right now. I'm trying to make my site more colorful and, showcase more weddings and, just being able to have everything out there so people can see, what the difference between my work and, other people's work is.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure half of your job is scheduling photo shoots and everything that it is that you have to do here. I feel like, half of your work is obviously taking pictures and booking all of that, but then half of it is probably having to get your work out there. And I'm sure that that's becoming more and more demanding. I don't know how you would keep up with that, but I also know that when I was looking, for a photographer, nowadays we're so spoiled because everyone has so much work out there. You can really search for forever. It's kind of a blessing and a curse. Like at the photographers I would look at like 15 weddings they did just to get an idea of it. And at some point you could drive yourself crazy doing that, but it's nice to see it all. I don't know. It's kind of a catch-22.
Definitely. And I do everything myself. There's so many people that have help and everything or outsource editing. I like to see everything myself because, you never know like what the difference is between yours and, someone else editing for you. So I feel like it's so important to, just kind of keep everything, in my company, in my small boutique company,
Yeah. So do you think you want to keep it that way? You like not outsourcing these kind of things?
Yeah, I like to just, do it myself because, no one's ever going to do anything as good as yourself.
Right.
And there's no room for me to, fix other people's mistakes or anything like that. So, that's why I like to keep it, continue this legacy of, me giving my unlimited attention from, from the start of booking until, like even long past their wedding day, like when you see my reviews, like I'm still really good friends with a lot of, my couples and, we still go out to dinner or like we'll have brunch at, my husband cooked brunch the other day for a couple that, I photographed last year.
Yeah.
So, stuff like that.
Well, yeah, that's so great. And that's just, I mean, impeccable customer service. If you just know that you're really going to be with them from beginning to end, you're going to really make them feel very comfortable. And I'm sure that a lot of people really love that about you. Mm-hmm. And do you have a moment where you can kind of look back to your early days where you felt like, I did it, or I'm doing it, or I've kind of made it, or a moment where you just sort of felt like things clicked?
I think maybe last year I kind of felt like, this is my life, like this is what I live and, dreamed of. And
wow,
where I want to be, I couldn't imagine myself doing any other job than what I'm doing now because this is, my happiness.
Yeah, that's so great. And so what's next? I know you mentioned you're going to rebrand a little bit, but is there anything people can get excited about or anything new you have coming for people?
I don't think I have anything like new. I think I'm just always continuing to, like educate myself with anything that's new that comes out, like we're always updating, like our firmware on our cameras and all of that stuff. But I think like I'm going to continue the education on seeing, like what the latest trends are and everything. I mean, we don't really follow the trends, but, like it's good to keep everything timeless, but it's also good to like be able to know like what's next for, this industry and, what's the next thing that to add on to your packages and, those.
Right. Yeah, you want to know what people are like wanting. I remember one of the things you told me that was so striking is that you said so many wedding photographers use filters and just sort of put them across the board on a lot of their images because they want to give them that certain mood. And you edit every single one, don't you? You don't use filters or whatever
Yeah,
the
like,
presets.
yeah, I don't really like the filters or the presets. I feel like, that doesn't really keep that, like timeless look. So,
Yeah.
like 10 years from now, you're not going to want that filter or the preset on your pictures. And, you're not going to be able to contact your photographer and be like, hey, can I, get a re-edit of those? So, I hope that, nobody's going to have to feel that way about any of the photos that, we take.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, you know how I feel about your photos. Okay. My last question for you is kind of a fast question, but I ask everyone, if you have a motivational book or podcast you recommend, what would it be?
I really love Rich Roll's podcast. He's really great at being inspirational, and he also teaches a lot about health and, like all the benefits of, like these different health things that he's learned right now. I guess like one of them is like the celery juice
Yeah.
right now. That's really big. But he's also vegan too, so it's really good to like hear about like what his latest things are on that too.
Are you vegan?
Mm-hmm. I'm vegetarian, so I'm
Yeah.
almost vegan, but sometimes it's hard to, like cut out cheese and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, I bet since you go to so many weddings every year, you probably eat pretty well during wedding season
Yeah,
because you
definitely.
have all this food.
Yeah, I have some of my best meals in, all these weddings.
I can only imagine, and all the cake and dessert. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing this with us, Susan. I'm so impressed with what you've built. I love working with you, and I love everything you shared about really the importance of, holding up your own name and holding up your own sort of signature experience and product that you give to people. And I think it's really tempting for people to outsource, and that's good if it works for you, if you want to grow, but there's something to be said for making sure that it's not at the cost of whatever you built your name on, and just remembering that your name is the most important thing you have, and it's never going to be worth it if you mess it up because someone else does it. So very great insights, and I'm very excited to see you in October.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. I can't wait.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, Susan. Have a good one.
Welcome. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.